2 weeks ago, I was reading a journal I receive each month. It covers political, economic, and social affairs. In my earlier life, I was in those realms, having an undergraduate degree in economics and a master's in urban affairs. I continue to have interest in those topics, and especially in anything that can be a takeaway from there to where I am today. Where I am today, as you know, is in sports officiating. One article caught my attention. It presented the view, backed by the historical record, that so many organizations, meaning political, philanthropic, educational, artistic, corporate, etc., start out to serve but then turn primarily into being served. As this change takes place, change also takes place within the highest strata of leadership. Leaders begin to focus more on what suits them and less on what the intended mission was or should be. A commonality that emerged was an authoritarian impulse that became ingrained within the organization's DNA. It can be that way with people in charge, people with position power. I give you this brief esoteric introduction to get to my main point, which is that impulse as it applies to officiating leadership and management. Over these past 4 decades, I have witnessed so many wrong-headed executions of tactless leadership, time and again. Because we are considered just part of the game and not of the game, we get treated from on high. We get treated as serfs. We get mandates, but we get very little management. If some of the treatment we have to endure was foisted upon a citizenry, it would revolt. In this case, think Hong Kong right now. We don't want to revolt. We want to referee. We don't want to make waves. We want to smooth the troubled waters that come from each game we work. We don't want to complain, but we want our voice to be heard through the irreplaceable work we provide to those who own and play the games. But I witness and I hear about a referee or a group of referees being treated as if chattel. I know that it is a strong word, but it is apt. When a group of people is treated disrespectfully, that becomes evident in the words used in communications with those people or about those people. When a group of people begins to think of themselves in adjectives that demean, then 2 things will happen. They will acquiesce or they will revolt. History is clear on that matter. What I want is for leadership in our industry to have a better sense of this history. Rightly or wrongly, officials do not feel valued. They believe they are treated as an optional sunroof on a car. Not the wheels, engine, transmission, or chassis, just a sunroof. Nice to have, but not something the buyer wants to shell out for. The owners of the games are facing a crisis, and they might be starting to understand that. The crisis is twofold: lack of warm bodies to referee their games, and the unsporting behaviors exhibited at their games. It is their game. They own it. They tell us what they want their game to look like and then turn to us to carry out the rulings and enforcements to model that clay into the proper form. If I owned a company whose sustainability depended on a particular supplier, I would do one of 2 things: buy that supplier or treat that supplier extra special, beyond the terms called for in a contract. In the case of organized sports, I submit that we are essential to the sustainability of sports. Those who own them, in quotes, better come to terms with that fact. Since we cannot be bought, the prudent avenue to take is to enhance the terms of the contract and provide psychic income beyond the strict terms of that contract. Make an investment in the officiating for your game. Make your game a place the officials revere, not revile. Stop sending communications that hammer and humiliate. The days of such authoritarian rule are on their way to the dustbin of history. Look around. The record can be read. I am hoping and hopeful. That is the best I can offer right now. Thank you.